So we're out here doing end of season cleanup, and I came out to get some cabbage, and I've been sick for about a week, and you can see the bunnies have been at my cabbage. This one's not bad. This one's tiny. And that one's ruined. Sacrificial cabbages, but look how big that would have been. That one's good, small. So is that one. This one looks like it got eaten and now it's growing again. But these are the Dutch. Look at those. Isn't that beautiful? Look how big. Oh, and it's really tight. So we're going to make some sauerkraut. So let's take this bad boy and get it ready to cut up. Alright, so I pulled the leaves off the Dutch cabbage and hosed it down, and here's one of the regular cabbages. And you can see, you know, we're organic gardeners here, so we've got areas where there are little holes, and oop, did you see that little guy? We have little worms in there. So the best way, see, he's right there, moving around. Best way to get these guys out is to drown them. So what we're going to do is get a bucket and fill it with water. All right, so I've got a bucket and I've got the Danish cabbage in there, and now I'm going to put the regular cabbage in here. And cabbage likes to float, so look at all that dirt, and already it's come off of it. Looks like I need to put a little bit more water in here and a weight. Can you see all the air bubbles? So it's getting in between all the leaves in there, and soon it will drown all the little critters and they'll come floating to the surface. So that's just an easy way to get rid of bugs in your organic vegetables and fruits. Okay, let me get something. All right, so I took these cabbages out of the water, and actually I just weighed this particular cabbage. It's almost 7 pounds. That is a big cabbage. It's one of the Dutch varietals. And then I've got a second one here, not quite as big, but still good size. And then one of the regular cabbages that I grow. And I have more if I need them. But today my goal is to fill up this 1 gallon crock. Well, it's got a pickle on it. Mr. Old School put a pickle on it for my fermenting pickles. But I'm going to make sauerkraut in this. This crock is still for sale. It's German made. I think you got it at an estate sale, but Lehman sells these for about 70 bucks. And they've got a nice deep inside, easy to get your arm in and work with. But and it comes with the weights, so you just put them down in there and weigh your food down. But the beauty of these is this water channel here. So you want to get it as full as possible, but then you've got this channel you fill with water, and when you put the lid on, oxygen doesn't get in. So you just continually fill this up, and then you don't need any of those fancy fermentation airlocks or anything like that. This is an old, very traditional way to do fermentation. Just thought I'd show you one of these too. This is an old fermentation crock as well. It's number 4, which means it's a 4-gallon one. Got a nice big lid on it. It's glazed. If you have one of these, especially if it's older, like this is a newer one, but here is one I'm using as an end table. It's a 10-gallon. It is extremely old, so before I would use something like that, I would test it for lead. Some of the old ones, 100 plus years old, and this one is that old. may have lead in it, and you can see that some of the glazing is worn off the top. So anything that was under the glazing is exposed then to the food. So then you get into problems. But this I just use as an end table, so no problem there. Like I said, this one is newer, and then the one I have in the other room is the newest of all. So this part of the sauerkraut making party could be done with a mandolin. I prefer to use a knife. You guys know I love my cleaver. It was my mom's, and it's my favorite tool. I use this in place of a chef's knife. So I'm going to cut these all up by hand. Feel free to go ahead and use a mandolin, especially one of the old-fashioned ones that's very wide. You can really get good coverage with that. I've used a mandolin in the past, but anymore I just prefer a knife work to using the mandolin, unless I'm doing something like something I need an exact measurement on. Then I'll, like a bread and butter pickle or something like that, I'll use a mandolin. But so basically all I'm going to do is, I've already cleaned this up a little bit, and I'm going to just take off some of this. I've got a container over here in the sink, and I'm going to shred. I want to clean up that water is what I'm going to do first. All right, so all I'm going to do is shred, which I'm just going to come down like this, just nice little strokes like that. Yeah, you might want long, thin pieces. That's what I like. I like long, thin pieces. You might want to come back through and then chop that way, if that's what you like. So you do you, I do me. And that's all she wrote. Be careful, this shit can get slippery. I mean, look how quick, right? So anyway, we're going to chop all this up, and then we're going to weigh it. So let's get chopping. All right, so I've got 2 heads of cabbage chopped up. I still have that 3rd head, but this is a pretty big stock pot I'm putting all this cabbage, sliced cabbage in. So the remains go to the compost pile. So I'm going to do a dry fit just to see if I have too much cabbage. I want it really up and maybe mounded over the top, because the next step is to add salt to this, massage it in, and it will start to break down and get flatter and start to release juices. So I want more than what will fit in here, but I don't want like a bunch more. So let's do a quick dry fit. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is weigh exactly how much cabbage we have. All right, so we weighed out all the cabbage, and I have right around 10 pounds of cabbage, and I weighed it out in grams because it's more accurate. So I need about 90 grams of salt, and I need a pure salt. So I wanted to show you these other salts that I have and let you know why they are no good. So here's Morton's table salt, free flowing, which means it has an anti-caking agent in it, calcium silicate. Anyway, no good. I thought the Mexican La Fina Sal Natural would be good. However, it has many ingredients in it, including fluoride and potassium. So, although that's neither here nor there, I can't use that. Here's the Morton salt. This says clearly here salt does not contain or supply iodine. Right there it says that. but it has sodium silicate in there again. My camera doesn't want to focus. And then, of course, we have the iodized salt. So what I usually use is sea salt. Ta-da! Here's some sea salt I actually harvested and captured, but I don't have enough sea salt. I like to use kosher salt as well, but in the back of the cupboard, Morton's pickling salt, and the only ingredient in Morton's pickling salt is salt. So this is what we'll be using today. So if you don't use a natural salt, if you use a salt that has other ingredients in it, you may not get a ferment. Remember, fermenting comes from bacteria, and some of these extra ingredients may kill bacteria that we want to grow. It's the good stuff, right? So use a natural salt, like Redmond's natural salt is very popular. I like to use kosher salt or sea salt, and like I said, I collected this sea salt on my own. And of course, pickling salt is also good to use. So let's go ahead and measure out the salt. All right, so we got the salt measured out. I use a 2% brine. I'll link the recipe below so you can check that out. Some people use a 2.5% brine. I've never tried it. I haven't had a need to because 2% works for me, and that's not that much salt compared to 10 pounds of cabbage, right? Sorry, you guys, I've been sick. My brain isn't quite where it should be. All right, so now what do we do with it? All right, so what I did is I removed some of the cabbage here, and I'm going to refill the bowl, but when I do, every time I do, I'm just going to put a little layer of salt down, add more cabbage, and this is half the cabbage. It's about 5 pounds of cabbage, so I halved the amount of salt, so I didn't put it all in one container. Salt, salt, salt. And then what we'll do when we get it filled is we're going to just do this. We're going to massage the cabbage for about 10 minutes. And when we're done with that, you'll see that there will be fluid in the bottom, which will become our brine. So the cabbage will release water, cabbage water, and then we'll shove it in that crock, shove, 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 weight it down, and then the brine will cover the cabbage. So anyway, I'm going to have to do this twice, because I've got 2 big bowls to fill up that gallon crock, and yeah, get to massaging. This is a great fun thing for kids to do, and then, you know, who knows, maybe they'll even eat the sauerkraut, but no matter what, it's got to be done, so I'm going to get to work. All right, so 10 minutes later, this batch is done. This one I still have to do, left to do. And you can see how much the cabbage has decompressed, I guess. And can you see all the fluid in there? So that's what we want. So I just wanted to show you the difference. And now I'll get started on this one. And we'll come back when they're both done.